What is up, everyone? Sean here, and welcome to another review for an anime movie. Last time we reviewed Kimi no Na wa, thanks to Funimation with the invite. And this time I was invited to another event, which was Dragon Cry's, or Fairy Tail Dragon Cry's VIP event of the red carpet premiere of the English dub for Fairy Tail's Dragon Cry. Thank you very much, Funimation, for the invite. It was a pleasure to, give my time for the viewing of that movie, and I will give my honest review about it. And if you guys don't like my review on it, I understand. It's it can be very contrasting for for other people anyway, but anywho, I will give my honest review on it. And overall, if I were to kind of sum it up, my thoughts on it, it's something you can watch. It's like a good B anime movie, or anime B movie, if you want, however you want to put it. It's nothing deep, especially me coming from Kimi no Na wa for the last movie review. But anywho, that's not the whole point. I didn't go in there with any expectations at all. I have watched Fairy Tail before. I am very familiar with it. I did read all the manga chapters and stuff like that for the most part, and it did end very recently. I will miss it to a certain extent. It was something I did look forward to because I do like Fairy Tail for the art. I love the art style. Hiro Mishima always draws some really cool art for it, and that's what I really like about it. I do like the art style, the visuals, the character designs, the music for the anime. It's very cool. So I will give credit to those parts, but when it comes to Fairy Tail, it's very shortcoming on the story, and just like the turnarounds, and the whenever the good scenes happen, it's just kind of just dry. It lacks that vigorating kind of oomph that I do get from other shonen series like One Piece. That's like my absolute all-time favorite. One Piece just gets it right, and unfortunately Fairy Tail kind of falls short on very important things, and that's kind of how I felt with Dragon Cry. It's more or less a Fairy Tail thing. It's like a very long Fairy Tail episode. It doesn't really feel too much like a movie. It happens a lot with a lot of other shonen movies as well. It feels like a long episode. And of course, other cartoon movies kind of feel that way too. Simpsons and of course, Family Guy would probably feel that way if they ever come out with a movie. Probably not gonna happen. But yeah, anywho, it felt like a long anime episode. Nothing too deep like you would expect from Fairy Tail, and just I can't, would not give this a very high score, but I'll get to that later. But let's talk about the things I did like from this movie anyway. So this was animated by A1 Pictures, so of course the quality for the most part was there. I did like the quality of it. They captured the Fairy Tail character designs, the overall look, the colors were there. I did like it. Very visual, very graphic in terms of just colors and character designs and anime, and more or less Fairy Tail. So if you like Fairy Tail on the very visual aspects of it, like me, you will like it on that part. There were some little imperfections, I would say, but that's kind of a minor complaint. There are other complaints I will like to talk about, but anyways, for the most part, the visuals were pretty well done. It was pretty well animated. There were a lot of I would say ecchi fan services or something like that, or just erotic angles, let's just say, for the female characters, especially with Lucy and Urza. They just don't really hold back on that, which Fairy Tail has been known for by yours truly, Hiro Mishima, who of course was the producer for this film, so probably explains why. And I did like the fact, not on the fan service stuff, I did like the fact that Fairy Tail actually put in the gore in there. It it added a good amount of gore to make it very believable, very immersive. Like, damn, shit's happening. You know what I mean? The TV series tends to very much hold back on that, which I don't like as well for Fairy Tail. Like, it's just so obvious that they're holding it back. And at least the manga shows a good amount of gore as well, blood, whatever, some violence. And at least the movie was able to show that, and that was another thing I did like about the movie. The visuals were the most part there. They're really cool, and I did like the overall visual direction for the movie. When it came to music, it was more or less, of course, it had that nice Fairy Tail soundtrack to it. Had the old like not Victorian, but that Irish music, if that's kind of correct to say. It just has this nice atmosphere to it. It always matches with the atmosphere. It's kind of hard to explain, but overall I did like the music for it, as well as the general soundtrack for Fairy Tail. Always liked it, and Dragon Cry doesn't fall short on the music either. And the main theme for the Dragon Cry movie was alright. It's more or less what you expect from J-pop or some anime music, but it's something. I'll probably give it a listen again in the future once I get the chance. But yeah, for the most part, the music was pretty good. Now, one of the most important parts when it comes to the audio department, in a way, is the voices. The English voices were pretty much, for the most part, well done. It does the job done, and I do like the voices for some of the characters, like Erza or Erza, how you want to pronounce her name. I like saying Erza, but anyways, for the sake of kind of keeping it consistent, I will say Erza. Erza has a voice that matches, her. It's very nice, and of course, Gray's is okay. I would say Lucy's definitely matches her character. Let's just say. But anyways, and Natsu, of course, matches his character as well, and pretty much for the most part, the English dubbing did its job. It's not bad. It's more or less the Funimation dub that you expect from Fairy Tail, and they did a good job on it. So, the most important part for Funimation, they did their job for the most part. So I will give praise to that. So if you guys are, if you guys were looking forward to the English dub, you can look forward to that. It was really cool to kind of have the voice actors kind of sit around you at the theater, and even I believe his name is Todd Haberkorn. Excuse me for butchering the name, but Todd. I know his name is Todd. Todd, kind of threw out some lines right before the movie and stuff like that. It was really funny. So, it's kind of a unique experience to have the cast kind of watch it with you when it comes to these kind of premieres. So it's really cool. It was a fun little experience when it came to that. But again, the English dub did its job. It's not the most terrible thing I've listened to for an English dubbed anime, and I can tolerate it. But I will say that the one thing I will complain for the English dubbing is Levy's voice. Levy sounds way too old for her image, her overall character. She's petite. Her Japanese voice is supposed to be, kind of a little more high pitched, kind of, matches her overall stature and stuff like that. And unfortunately, they kind of fell short on that part. But overall, like I said, the English dub did its job. And again, it's not the most terrible. It's just Levy's voice kind of threw me off a bit. I'm just like, whoa. I kind of forgot that she sounds like this in the Funimation dub. I did watch like a couple of English dub episodes for Fairy Tail a long time ago, so kind of forgot about that until the movie. So that definitely gave me a nice little reminder of Levy's voice. Another thing I did like about the English dubbing is the dialogue. It's kind of nice to kind of see the English dialogue kind of become a little more unique comparing to the Japanese dialogue. It's very different languages which tell stories very differently and talk differently and just carry out dialogue very differently. And I think the English dubbing again did a good job on that too. The writing is there, you know, pretty humorous, and it is, you know, something for the general audience for anyway. For that part, the writing is very, you know, it's very lighthearted. It's funny in some parts, and you know, even I can admit that. Now let's steer to the things that I didn't like about the movie, unfortunately. Now, there are things that I don't like about the general things for a fairy tale, but I'll try to focus on the movie itself. So the movie, I think the things I don't like from it was the story itself, unfortunately. As easy it is to follow, it was kind of a mess. Like, there were some things that kind of like, you're just like, what? And a lot of the fans that were watching it in the theater were doing the same exact reaction I was. I'm just like, what? Like, what is going on for a lot of parts? And excuse me while the weed whacker is going off. But anyways, there were a lot of things that were making me question in the movie when it came to the story aspect of the movie. And the other things I didn't like about were some of the sounds. There were some weird little technical things that were happening in the movie. Like, there are some missing sound effects, like some of the crashes and stuff like that, like the, you know, characters like crashing into like the rocks or whatever, or just like the impacts and stuff like that. Some of them were missing sound effects, so that kind of like threw a lot of us off, and even some, you know, a lot of people were pointing that out. So I'm not the only one, so I'm not. I know I thought it was crazy, but but I think for the most part everyone heard that, and there were some missing sound effects for a number of parts anyway, and there were some parts where you wish they had more sound to it. Like, they stuck with like the very plain anime sound for like a crash or something. You kind of wish that they would add that cinematic like oomph to it. We are watching a movie, so you know. They should have. I wish they would put a little more effort for those parts. But there were parts where, you know, that had that nice cinematic oomph to it, that bass, that impact. So it was really, really nice on those parts. So it definitely felt like a movie experience on those parts. But there were a good number of parts that were, you know, that were missing that, and that's something I gotta point out as a negative for the movie, and as well as the story. The direction was a bit of a mess. There were things I wish I can rearrange myself to really, you know, make it a more solid movie for Fairy Tail. It's kind of hard to explain without spoiling it. So, but I will say that for an overall thought. So I didn't like the direction for Dragon Cry. But again, it is easy to follow. The story isn't, you know, that hard to follow. It revolves around the staff called the Dragon Cry, hence the name. And it, you know, has a lot of power. It is very destructive. It's the property of Fiore, and it apparently has the power to release the rage of all the dragons or something like that. Never explained who created it, why it was created, and all that stuff. Doesn't really go too deep into it, which I kind of wish they did. I mean, you know, we're talking about the staff that's, you know, the name of the movie, so we should get at least some background on it, but don't really get too much on it. They kind of just explained it that it's very destructive, very dangerous, and it was stolen by Zatch Kane, and that's about it. Zatch Kane is one of the movie characters, along with Sonia and Animus. And now, before I go further, let me correct that it's Zash Kane. Excuse me for the little slip of Zatch Kane. kind of like Zatch Bell, but anyways, the movie characters were a little subpar in my opinion. They didn't really bring that much more support into the movie anyway. Zatch Kane was okay, but there are some things again I was questioning. I don't know. There's a lot of things I questioned for the movie, and it's kind of unfortunate for Dragon Cry, but anyways, so the staff was stolen, and Fairy Tail is assigned to get it back. So Natsu and the gang are, of course, assigned to that quest, and they're the ones to retrieve it and stuff like that. I will definitely go more into the story later. But yeah, just to sum it up, I guess, or give a little short summary. Yeah, that's pretty much the plot of it. And there's really not much else to it. There's nothing really deep going on. So don't expect anything else. There's nothing mind blowing like Kimi no Na or Your Name, whatever. And it's it feels like that, kind of like that long episode for an anime, for a shonen anime. And of course, One Piece is very guilty of that. I understand that, and a lot of other shonen stuff as well. It kind of doesn't feel like a movie a lot of times, and it just feels like a long TV episode with a very followable story, and it just kind of plop it in there for the movie. And Dragon Cry is no exception. It's one of those movies, and even with that though, it does even fall shorter under that border for me anyway. Well, that's pretty much it for my overall thoughts on it without spoiling it. So overall, again, it's a B anime movie, and it's something you shouldn't expect too much for a movie or anime movie anyway. Fairy Tail is more or less Fairy Tail. And if you guys like Fairy Tail, you may like it, but for the other anime fans, I don't know. I really can't say. But for me, it was hard to really like it. It really is, or really was, and I will explain more of that in the spoiler portion. I really do want to like it. I really do want to like Fairy Tail, and Dragon Cry is no exception. But the same elements that hold me back from liking it are still there, and it doesn't really it never changes, and unfortunately, and overall, I can't really like it a whole lot. It's I always like it and hate it at the same time. It's a very complicated thing, but that's just me. That's just my opinion on it. So with that, Fairy Tail, it's fun to watch. It's visually, there are some fan service things going on, so the erotic aspect of Fairy Tail is there thanks to Mishima himself. So again, if you like Fairy Tail on the visual side, you'll definitely like it on that department. But for me, I don't look forward to the erotic stuff. I look forward to the character designs. I look forward to the action, the cool stuff. I kind of follow that part. But hey, the erotic stuff is there for the other guys that, or even gals that are into that kind of thing. But anyways, the things that I don't like about Fairy Tail are in his movie as well. So again, it's nothing more you can expect from Fairy Tail. So with that, I will give it. It's really hard to say. I kind of want to give it a 6 out of 10, but at the same time, a 7 out of 10. I don't know. It definitely is above average. It's not the worst movie I've seen. So for me, a 5 is an average movie. A 5 out of 10 is an average movie to me, and it's just a little above average, just because I do like the visual side. So with that, I will give it a 6 out of 10. But I can recommend it for the people who like Funimation, who like Fairy Tail. You guys may like it, but when it comes to the casual side, the people who aren't too familiar with Fairy Tail, it's hard to say. It's really hard to say. It's just a shonen movie that feels like a long episode and nothing too deep going on. It's also a bit of a mess. There are some things that you will question, stuff like that. So a 6 out of 10 is my final score for it, honestly, and that's just my honest review on it. So that'll be it. I'm gonna go into the spoiler portion. So if anyone does not want to get spoiled, you may leave. Thank you you guys so much for your time, and have fun with Fairy Tail. Hope you guys are able to find yourself a spot for that, since it is coming out in limited releases. So check on your dates and stuff like that, your locations. Funimation's main website or official website, Funimation.com, I assume. But anyways, check up on Funimation. They will provide you the dates and stuff like that. All the information you need for Fairy Tail, check it out there. So can't really emphasize more than that. But anyways, let's go into the spoiler portion. So let's start off with the beginning of the movie, which has Natsu imprisoned in this little cell carried by a giant bird. Weird, I know, but hey, it's fairy tale. What can you expect? So he's all bloody and stuff like that. He's tied up and he's stuck. So he tries to come up with a plan, and somehow there's some torch conveniently there, and he eats the torch after the prison breaks apart because the prison hits a couple of things on the way, and he's able to escape and also knock out the bird. And that's pretty much how the movie starts. Like, whoa, okay, I guess that's cool. But anyways, after that, I believe Zash Kane comes in, and he, is accompanied by the other movie character, Sonya, and the two go and try to go steal the Dragoncry staff at this tower somewhere in Fiore, guarded, of course. And the guards approach him, and I guess Zash is a badass, whatever, he has to be, right? So he has a black magic called, or it never had a name to it, but it's pretty much what you can expect. It's mind control. He induces people into this rage, and had the guards stab each other, including the captain, who actually looked pretty cool. It's a she, like, she was the captain. She had like nice, like, short black hair or whatever, blah blah blah, but unfortunately she comes short as she falls into that control and stabs her own comrades, and soon she gets slashed down by her own guards, and that's that, I guess. Sonya, of course, doesn't like that. She's that type of character. She's the more pacifist type, but Zash kind of just, he's like, fuck it, we got to do what it takes to get our missions done or whatever. And they, of course, take the staff, and that kind of cues the King of Fiore to summon the guys from Fairy Tail, of course. So Natsu and the others come to the King's Palace to get informed about the Dragoncry staff, blah blah. And of course, it's a all-powerful staff, very destructive and can destroy a country, and it belongs to Fiore, and Natsu and the others are entrusted to get it back. Meanwhile, you get to know Animus, the other one of the other movie characters and he's he appears to kind of start off as a creeper, especially when he approaches behind Sonya, and the way the whole scene kind of plays out. Sonya's like, "Oh, I didn't notice you. You always approach me without me noticing," and something like that. She says something like that, and the way the scene plays out, it kind of is really creepy. It's kind of just, kind of get cringed a bit. If you ever see that scene, but it's even I was kind of like, whoa, jeez, and you can hear the other audience's reactions. It's kind of really funny, but so yeah, Animus is a bit of a creeper, but he's the king, of course, and he of course keeps Zash in check, who also he's also the minister of the country, so he has that high-ranking role, but of course Animus keeps him in check. He wants to make sure that Sonya is protecting all that stuff, and man, that scene. But anyways, next day, what was it? Oh, right. The undercover scene with Lucy as a dancer, and that's where the erotic stuff comes in, the ecchi stuff. And Urza is also one of the waiters or waitresses, and she has it's Fairy Tail. You've come to expect these erotic things, all thanks to Hiro Mishima. He's the producer, so he likes this. He likes the ecchi stuff. All the whole waifu shit, and Gray is there as well. He is a waiter, and they all are there to make sure Zash is there and stuff like that, and they can get the ring, which opens the tower after getting that information from the king, of course, I believe anyway. And they eventually were able to steal the ring, or Urza steals the ring after Lucy, using Gemini to have Lucy Gemini distract Zash because he's a pervert apparently, and Urza just steals it just like that. She's so smooth, she's so cool, And Urza gives the ring to Gray, and Gray gives makes a ice copy, thanks to his ice make powers, and gives that to Happy and Cheryl. And they go to Natsu and Wendy, who try to be ninjas but fail anyway. But it's all little fun and games for them. But they are the ones who infiltrated that tower in Stella, which holds the staff. And they get there, they knock out the guards, thanks to Natsu. And Natsu's the one who grabs the staff, and he kind of sees these visions of the dragons, and he cries. But in the process, he activates a trap set by Zash, or someone anyway that gets Zash's attention anyway. And they get this. They were able to steal the staff anyway, and they have this whole scene with the chase and stuff like that, tossing around the staff and whatever, and it's all right. There are some parts of the animation where it kind of falls short, but there were some other parts where it was really cool. So overall, it's an alright scene. Come to more or less expect, they were able to steal the staff for now. Oh, and I forgot to mention there were other characters in the story like Juvia and Gajeel and stuff like that, and they had a little bit of screen time, but Juvia definitely had the most screen time out of those characters, and she was really funny. I thought she was very yandere and stuff like that. I don't know, that was just really funny. It was a really well done from on that part. I thought Juvia was a really good part from the movie. But anyways, but not too long after, the 3 stars, who are also new characters in the movie, were able to take the staff back, and Zash is there, of course. I like the one of the members that have the leg gauntlets. She does like really cool kicks and shit like that. She was probably the coolest one out of the 3 stars, and the weirdest one was probably I guess the guy that flexes a lot. He uses dolls as his weapons, of course. I guess he knows doll magic, and the guy on the ball is more or less like that sleazy asshole type of guy. He kind of looks like Natsu, funny enough, and he just bounces around on the ball. He uses air magic, so he's kind of like Aang in a way. So it's a little cool, but you don't really get to see those characters for too long in a movie overall. But anyways, they help take the staff back. Zash sends him off to prison. Takes Lucy himself because he likes to keep female prisoners. So, because 1, he's a pervert. 2, he likes to have blood sacrifices for his magic in order to maintain its power. So, because he has dark or black magic, he needs blood to keep his magic going, or to keep those powers going. And he's about to cut Lucy or whatever. It's just ugh. Just another creepy scene, thanks to Zash. You see Natsu in his own prison breaking out, and that was the beginning of the scene, or that was the beginning of the movie. So there you go, full circle. And he was able to escape, blah blah, along with his the rest of the gang. And they come back to go get Lucy, which able to conveniently save her during or right before the blood sacrifice, I guess, or blood ritual, whatever you want to call it. And for now, they retreat. Sonya was there, so she was actually able to help them escape. And after they escaped, thanks to the help of Sonya was able to explain to them what was really happening and why Stella is doing this. And basically, Stella has these stellanium crystals or whatever. And they are pretty much, what powers the city, but at the same time, it's like a danger. So it's kind of like a nuclear power plant, pretty much. It's very powerful, but at the same time, it's so dangerous that, it'll expect, one little mistake and it'll explode and it'll blow up the whole city. But in this case, the stellanium takes in starlight or whatever, and that's how they get power. But they're getting too much light, and because of that, the whole city might blow up or whatever. So that's why they want to cut off the starlight by imbuing themselves in darkness or whatever. So that's the reason. That's the whole reason why they want the staff. So it's like, wow, they want to be all dark and shit. So that's their excuse to steal the staff. And well, of course, not to disagree to that, the staff also contains the dragons that were killed by Agnolia. Agnolia is the most powerful dragon. He's the Dragon King, I guess, or he's the Black Dragon. He's definitely the most dangerous one out of all the dragons. Still alive, and he's the one to put those dragons, I guess, into that staff. I don't know. Again, it never really explained who made the staff, why they made the staff. I don't know. But all we know is that the staff has these dragons, or it has the power of the dragons, and these dragons were killed by Agnolia and other things. So after that scene, eventually they go back and try to retake the staff, defeating the 3 stars. Overall, it was a pretty cool fight scene. Whatever, it's kind of all right. Or I like Urza's the most, of course, because she was fighting the one with the legs, the leg gauntlets or whatever. I forget her name, but yeah, that was the coolest one in my opinion. And of course, Urza beats her with the Grand Chariot, which I thought was really weird, considering that it's supposed to be I don't know how to pronounce his name, but Gerald. I don't know. I don't watch too much of the English dubs enough to know some names, so kind of hard for me to pronounce. But Jalal. But anyways, she does that. So with that, she was able to beat that 3-star member. So after the 3 stars were defeated, you see the staff once again taken by Sonia herself. But now we see the plot twists happening, and Animus is within her all along. King Animus was really never there. Animus is a dragon that possessed Sonia in order to cheat death, because he was dying himself thanks to Agnolia. And Animus was in her body the entire time, and which is how she was able to stay alive, and apparently, and he was able to stay alive. So they had this like symbiotic relationship. So I guess like it's kind of brings one theory of how he was able to kind of, you know, be a king, of course. And I guess the Animus that we saw was a thought projection. Whenever Zash talked to Animus, I guess that Animus was a thought projection, and the one that Sonia saw is the one in her body, or in her mind. So I don't know. It's kind of this weird thing. Never really explained what's what too much, which I don't like about the movie either. There's never really kind of tie things nice and tightly. It's just, I don't know, a lot of loose ends, and barely answers like the minimum questions really. But of course, in the process, Zash, who was fighting Lucy earlier, was able to escape and takes the staff back, goes up the tower and tries to do the ritual, but he dies. And unfortunately, I kind of had this like thought of, you know, it would have been really nice if the captain of the guards was the one who kills him instead of the staff taking him. It would have been so much more satisfying. I felt like that would have been I don't know, it would have been cooler that way. The captain got her ass kicked. She looked cool, but she got her ass kicked. And spoiler or whatever, in the spoiler section or spoiler portion, she never did anything. She's kind of just useless, unfortunately. Never really was able to do anything to redeem herself, at least. And all she can do was just escape after Lucy was able to rescue her and the other female prisoners. And of course, Lucy's the one who fights Zash. And I forgot to mention, Zash has a dog like out of nowhere, which is really weird. Like that dog should have been with them the entire time, or whatever. But I guess it makes a good surprise. So I guess the dog just came out of nowhere and he rides on it. Apparently, it just looks really weird. I don't know. It's, man, I don't know. There's just a lot of things that were kind of messy to me, and yeah, that is no exception. But anyways, so Zash dies because of the staff. He wasn't strong enough. Boo-hoo, go figure. And so with that, Sonia or excuse me, Animus turns himself into a dragon in Sonya's body. So the truth was, Animus wanted the staff so he can escape himself while, I guess, rain chaos with all the rages of the dragons, raining down or whatever, in theory. And he was trying to do that, but unfortunately, Zash came in after he escaped from Lucy's grasp, and the ritual wasn't complete. So he steals the staff, and Animus did turn into a dragon in the process, but apparently it wasn't like the true dragon form or something. It was imperfect or whatever, or it wasn't complete. So Animus, of course, tries to take it back, but Zash tries to do the ritual. So after Zash dies, Animus was able to get the staff and completes the ritual, and was able to power himself up completely, and fights Natsu, impales Natsu in the process. But Natsu survives, of course, because plot convenience. Lucy and Happy cry, and Lucy's tears reaches down to Natsu's mouth and apparently swallows it, and that's how he wakes up, which is really weird. But I guess that's one way to do it, I guess. Just cry and let your tears fall down to someone's mouth. But anyways, though, that's how it happened, and Animus recognizes him as END. So I guess this movie is, in a way, canon. Like, it kind of is somewhere before the final season or that final part of Fairy Tail. Anyway, so I guess that movie is canon in a way. It will, the ending will confirm it. But anyways, yeah, it's just, of course, eventually Natsu beats him after he gets some dragon power activated or whatever, and was able to defeat Animus. So that's pretty much it on that part. And so Natsu beats him. All good, I guess. Sonya takes back the staff, and for some reason, Sonya feels sympathetic towards Animus, because apparently she wanted to know more about him because he was the one who kept her alive, which does make sense. But I kind of wish that they showed that earlier before she made that statement. So it makes so much more sense. But the way they presented it, it just came off as like, what? You like him after what he did to you? But yeah, so you later find out that they were in this symbiotic relationship in the first place. So you kind of wish you knew that in the big or later or whatever. And I don't know, like, it's just so weird. It's really weird, and it's just, I wish they've told that in a different way to kind of make it a little more, it would make more sense. I don't know. Kind of hard to explain, but anyways. So, in the end, Natsu wins, blah, 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 and Natsu and Lucy hug, and Natsu repeats this one line that he said in the early parts of the film to, I guess, make it full circle again. And with that question, what do I look like to you? And the Dragon Christ staff shatters, and that's it. That's how it ends. That's how the movie ends. That's pretty much it. So there is one thing I did forget to mention. There were some funny parts with Happy. He eats a fruit, he turns red, and apparently it gives him fire powers temporarily, and that's how he was able to defeat the dog. Because of course Happy doesn't like dogs because he thinks he's a cat. He's got cat-like instincts, so that's why he was able to do. Well, he of course didn't like that dog that Zash had, but was able to beat it because of that firepower. So I don't know. That was a pretty humorous part, but yeah. But and of course all the other parts with Juvia, they were pretty good. So but anyways, there was one last scene. So people were saying, "Oh, it's a Marvel film." Oh, I was like, "Oh God." But anyways, there was a post-credit scene, and that's pretty much a teaser for for the last season, the final season of Fairy Tail. And you know, it was kind of neat. You get to see Zeref, get to see the Winter General, and the one girl with the green hair. I forgot her name, but she's there. She's the one who controls like space, the size and stuff like that. She was there along with the Winter General and Zeref. So Magnolia is pretty much, you know what happens. This shit's gonna happen. Magnolia's gonna try to destroy the world or whatever, and Zeref wants to destroy him as well. So that was pretty much like the teaser for that season, and again, that was kind of cool. But I mean, I do kind of look forward to the final season for Fairy Tail, but the movie itself was, again, it was okay at the most. But again, I would give it a 6 out of 10, like I did before. I forgot to mention that the Dragon Cry staff, once it was broken, it reverted back to a ribbon, which was apparently the original form of that staff. Very strange to me, but it never really explained well enough, at least for me anyway, why, how, who, what, you know, and it came from a ribbon apparently, and then of course the ribbon flies and leads to the post-credit scene with Magnolia grabbing the ribbon, and he burns it pretty much. He's like, oh, nonsense. But yeah, and then it shows the whole scene with Animus getting killed or dying along with his other dragons, and he was the surviving dragon, but there was a little girl there too as well, and she was dying, and that's kind of what motivated Magnolia to destroy the dragons, because, you know, he wanted to destroy all dragons, whatever. He's a dragon slayer, whatever, and so he kills all the dragons, but all but one, and Animus takes the girl's body, Sonia, to cheat death, and somehow it formed the Dragon Cry staff, blah blah blah. I wish that Animus was shown in the beginning, you know, dying, and then you see him, you know, take Sonia's body to, you know, of course, cheat death, and that's how you can see the whole, you know, thing, that the whole, oh, you helped me survive and I helped you survive, whatever. That whole thing, like, it would have made so much more sense, but because we didn't see that in the beginning, that whole line from Sonia didn't make sense. Like, why would Sonia like Animus? So if they showed the scene with Animus in the first place, like, it would have made more sense. Like, okay, well, Animus goes into the little girl's body, and the ribbon, I guess, forms into the dragon staff, and blah blah blah. And of course, obviously, Animus, as a king, would tell her, "Oh, that dragon in you, or is keeping you alive," blah blah blah, just to kind of like further manipulate her to think that yeah, like Animus himself, the King Animus himself, is not that dragon, whatever. You know what I'm talking about. Like, basically, that post credits, the part of a post credit scene should have been the beginning. I don't know. That's just my opinion. But even with that, I don't know. There are a lot of things about the story that could have been better for Dragon Cry. But, you know, again, it's a 6 out of 10. That's all I gotta say about the spoiler portion, stuff like that. So, hope you guys enjoyed this whole entire video with myself reviewing Fairy Tail Dragon Cry, and also the spoiler portion of Dragon Cry. And I wish they rearranged the scenes a bit to make it a little more sense, to kind of give more, to give you a more of a perspective of Sonia and Animus. That would make more sense. And also there were some holes as well, like or some questions to be answered. And it's just a B anime movie, so it's Fairy Tail. Like I said, it's more or less what you expect. So, anyways, that's pretty much it for the video. Thank you so much. I know it's been a little weird. Yeah, so much. I know it's a little scrambled, but you know, it's how my brain works, and I try to remember, you know, as best as I can to give my, you know, precise thoughts on it. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any comments or questions or anything like that, leave them down below. And of course, give it a thumbs up if you like the video, and hit the subscribe button. and share these videos if you want to. It really helps out, and I highly appreciate it. And of course, hit the bell to be notified for more videos like these. So again, thank you guys so much. This has been my review and spoiler talk, I guess, for Fairy Tail Dragon Cry. Thank you guys again so much. I'll see you guys in the next video. Sean out.